Welcome to the Discovery Center of Idaho and King Tut Treasures from the Tomb. Uncovered for the first time in 1922 by Howard Carter, Tutankhamun, known informally as King Tut, was entombed with thousands of artifacts that give us a glimpse into ancient Egyptian life. Superbly reproduced, this magnificent collection of artifacts, curated by the Origins Museum Institute, preserves the mystery of one of the most astonishing archaeological treasures ever discovered. This alabaster statue shows a figure sitting cross-legged with a papyrus sheet on his lap. This shows the exclusive and mostly male occupation of writing and keeping records. This alabaster statue shows Queen Ankhesenmeri and her son Pepe II from the 6th dynasty. This terracotta figure depicts an Egyptian woman with the task of fermenting barley through a sieve into a vat, or more commonly known as making beer. Amenhotep IV and Queen Nefertiti abandoned Thebes to build a city in the desert Amarna. He rejected the traditional beliefs of Egypt and worshipped one god, the Aten. He was the father of Tutankhamun and son of Amenhotep III and Queen Taye. He wears the blue Kapresh crown. After the collapse of the city of the sun, Amarna, Akhenaten's names were erased from the many monuments. This bust is one of Tutankhamun's 6 stepsisters, known as Meritaten. This limestone bust of one of the daughters of Akhenaten and Nefertiti is expressed in an art that culminated in the Amarna art style, 1150 to 1070 BCE. This golden pendant shows Tutankhamun sitting. With his accession to the throne after his father's death, the priesthood of Amun was re-established. This cobra serpent is associated with the goddess Neith and acts as the guardian of the entrance to the underworld. Found on top of a pair of gilded wooden staffs, the figures commemorate the pharaoh's coronation around 1333 BC at the age of 9. The winged scarab is representative of the god Khepri, who pushes the sun across the sky every day as a giant scarab. In real life, the scarab beetle lays its eggs in a ball of dung and rolls the ball ahead of it wherever it goes. The Ujat eye symbolizes the right eye of the celestial hawk god Horus, and was known for protection, royal power, and good health. Carnelian, turquoise, lapis lazuli inlay, the falcon clutching the symbols of life and holding the sun. The royal broad collar has faience beads and scarab pendants. A boat floating above the lotus blossoms rising from the celestial waters represented by a symbol for sky. Khepri, the falcon winged scarabed god of the sunrise, is pushing sun disk as a symbol of rebirth and of the pharaoh's immortality. the great royal wife of Amenhotep III and mother of Akhenaten, characterized by the New Kingdom style of Pharaonic art. A lock of her hair was buried with Tut. This limestone bust of the Radiant One has come, or Nefertiti, was found in the workshop of sculptor Thutmose at El Amarna. It was left behind when the city was abandoned and later found in 1912 by German Ludwig Borchardt. This papyrus vignette shows King Tut and his wife Ankhesenamun strolling in an arbor of floral columns, offering bouquets of lotus and papyrus decorated with mandrake, is likely a wedding image. This Egyptian funerary collar and mummy bead necklace is made of green faience, ceramic beads, and gold, plated for burial ceremony. This papyrus vignette of Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and Meritaten show the royal family making offerings to the sun god Anon. This fine carved stone vessel is decorated with bands of Phaeacians lotus petals. Two identical ones were found in the annex of the tomb. This alabaster lamp is in the form of a lotus. The interior, when lit, shows concealed images of Tutankhamun and his wife Ankhesenamun. The lid of this jar, a recumbent lion, sits atop scenes of lions and hounds hunting bulls and inscribed with the pharaoh's pre-nomen name. Containing animal fat and fragrant resins, it was found in the burial chamber. This wedding chest is made out of alabaster carved from a single block. It was engraved with the pharaoh's name and great royal wife. Inside were two balls of hair signifying the marriage contract of Tutankhamun and his half-sister wife, Ankhesenamun. The ibex statue contained an original ibex horns that did not survive. Has eyes of glass and tongue of ivory, as well as pierced ears. The oils it contained may have been stolen in one of the robberies of the tomb shortly after being sealed. This perfume box is in the shape of a cartouche. A cartouche, which is French for chenu, which means to encircle. It shows Tut's name, Tutankhamun, perfect in the life of Amun. This Ankh mirror case is in the style of the Ankh symbol for life, made of wood and covered in sheet gold with the names of the pharaoh. His throne name is shown encased in carnelian and quartz. Perfumes were treasured by grave robbers. Howard Carter noted fingerprints could still be seen on the insides of some vessels after the oils were stolen. Shaped in a motif of papyrus and lotus, this vessel is made of two separate pieces of alabaster. This mannequin of Tutankhamun is made out of wood and stuccoed in an effigy of plain tunic style, likely used for making garments for the pharaoh. Over the neck of this mannequin, you'll see a solar scarab jewelry amulet. This alabaster lotus lamp is in the form of a large blue lotus. The lamp was carved from a single piece of alabaster. The interior, when lit, sometimes shows inner wall scenes and images of Tutankhamun and his wife Ankhesenamun. This alabaster boat is one of the many stone vessels found in the annex of the tomb. This decorative boat with genuine Syrian ibex horns is decorated with precious stone and gold leaf. The dwarf figure steers the water as a woman sits on the prow. Associating royalty with lions, this jar was found in the burial chamber. 4 carved heads represent vanquished enemies, Asiatic and African. It shows scenes of hunting bulls and ibex. Its contents consisted of animal fats with gum resins. This Senate board, one of the oldest board games found in the first burials of ancient Egypt, made of ebony wood and ivory. This game is similar to checkers or chess. A player would throw the equivalent of gaming dice to establish how many squares to move one of their pawns on a given turn. This ebony and ivory child's chair is similar to the gold throne chair. It is constructed elegantly with gold rivets and ivory inlay panels, with gilt side panels sitting on with feline legs. The ebony stool is inlaid with ivory and stylized of a camp stool. Found in the antechamber, the duck head motif on the legs are typical of this kind of furniture. This Ankh symbol is a cross and hook hieroglyphic symbol representing eternal life in ancient Egypt. It was also worn as an amulet of various materials. Two leonine heads sit on the arms. Part of the chair is solid gold. Cartouches on the armrests show his Aton name, signifying his coronation. This gold throne chair and footstool are plated with gold, wood inlaid with semi-precious stones. The back shows the intimate scene of Tutankhamun and Ankhesenamun, the royal couple. The pharaoh wears the hem crown. The royal scepter is made of wood with sheet gold cloisonné inlay. This scepter was found in the annex. It represents a papyrus stem with 5 sacrificial bowls and an inscription of the royal manifestation of Tutankhamun. Its significance is that it suggests a compromise between the Aton and the Amun beliefs. This golden bed is one of 6 beds found in the tomb. It has an ornately carved footboard and is strung with woven mattress. The central panel celebrates the unity of Upper and Lower Egypt. Howard Carter describes this chest as one of the greatest artistic treasures of the tomb. Containing linen robes, headrests, and sandals, it has scenes of hunting and war. Tutankhamun is portrayed in the chariot vanquishing enemies. One of the 9 found in the tomb, this headrest represents Shu, god of the atmosphere, kneeling between east and west horizons to raise up to the heavens the head of the sleeper. The Nebet Shrine. Sitting on a sledge, it portrays the royal couple in domestic scenes. The curved roof in the form of a sanctuary of Nekbet, the vulture goddess. A statue of the pharaoh originally stood inside. One of 6 found dismantled in the tomb and constructed of wood and leather, the gold chariot was introduced in the 16th century, likely by the Hyksos. The inner panels are covered with gilded reliefs of bound captives. Made of papyrus, leather, wood, and sheet gold, the soles are decorated with images of captive African and Asian enemies, symbolically trampled on by the pharaoh. The Hathor ritual couch has gold heads in the form of the goddess Hathor. The bodies are blue glass inlay. A sacred couch for bearing the pharaoh to the heavens. The hieroglyphics ensure protection of Isis and Osiris. This golden wooden figure was found in the burial chamber. Osiris was god of the afterlife, wearing the ostrich Atef crown. Ushbadi means the answerer. One of the oldest of Egyptian gods, Ptah was a protector of artisans and craftsmen. Found in the treasury, the gilded figure is inscribed with feathers holding a staff with hieroglyphics for life, and says the benevolent god, son of Re, Tutankhamun. Ushbadi means answerer, and they were mummiform figures buried in the tombs to serve as substitutes for the deceased in the next world. Over 400 were found in Tutankhamun's tomb. A formula from the Book of the Dead often is written on Ushbadis. The portrait captures the young pharaoh's elongated skull, a feature among the inbred royals of Amarna. He is represented as the solar deity emerging from a lotus at the moment of creation. A cartouche, representing a loop of rope encircling the name, symbolizes eternity. Made of ebony and ivory, an exquisite design, it was found in the treasury. It contained pieces of jewelry, including gold earrings usually abandoned by young men upon manhood. Men Chariot, reverently bearing aloft the pharaoh in his mummy shroud, in the journey before death. This ornamental gold head was found on a leopard skin in the antechamber. There's wood overlaid with gold and glass on quartz. Carved in delicate low relief around its surface, an inscription refers to him as Beloved of Ammon, Lord of the thrones of the two lands and Lord of heaven. Howard Carter called it the Wishing Cup. Part of the ritual couches, beds were assembled in 4 sections inside the tomb. The ritual couch, such as this, was likely used as a mummification bier during the 70-day process. The canopic gold shrine. A frieze of cobras at the top was said to be one of the most beautiful monuments seen in the tomb. Inscribed in sunken relief, it housed a canopic smaller chest containing the viscera of the mummy. 4 gilt tutelary goddesses stood protecting the organs to be resurrected to the mummy. Hathor, cow goddess of the west, is manifested in the form of a sacred cow. Gilded wooden sculpture was found in the treasury. Lord of the West and guardian of the burial necropolis was found in the treasury of the tomb. Originally, it contained embalming equipment. This carving has obsidian eyes and a collar of gold leaf. Called a jackal god similar to the scavenging dogs, Anubis presided over mummification and the dead in final judgment. One of 4 goddesses, each distinguished by a hieroglyphic emblem on their head protecting the internal organs of the pharaoh. Isis protected the liver, Nephthys the lungs, Neith the stomach, and Selket the intestines with crowned scorpion emblem. Wearing the white crown, Hedjet of Upper Egypt, this represents the pharaoh's passage through the underworld. On his journey, he would encounter various thresholds and emerge with the rising sun. This is a replica of King Tut's sarcophagus. Tutankhamun with harpoon. Wearing the crown of Lower Egypt and standing on a papyrus raft, this is sculpted in the Amarna style and may have been reworked for Tutankhamun's burial. The design on the curved inscribed lid of this small canopic chest is reminiscent of the purware sanctuary of the Temple of Hathor at Dendera. Carved of alabaster, it contained 4 hollow receptacles for the linen-wrapped internal organs and detailed design in hieroglyphics. A frieze of jade pillars and Isis was wrapped around the base, which sat on a sledge. Personifications of 4 canopic jars, each of Horus's sons, paired with a goddess, is responsible for the protection of a particular organ. Imseti and Isis guarded the liver, Hapi and Nephthys the lungs, Dumutif and Neith the stomach, and Kabensunuf and Selket the intestines. Made of beaten gold with cloisonné rishi, or feather pattern, they each held the mummified organs of the pharaoh. Flabellum provided shade and were fitted with ostrich plumes on golden staffs. Considered an art masterpiece, typically in the likeness of the deceased, the gold death mask weighs 22 pounds and is of several parts gold inlaid with precious stones. The goddesses Nephbet and Wadjet are on the brow. A false beard connects Tutankhamun to a god. The broader collar ends in shapes of falcon heads. Standing at the entrance to the burial chamber, these 2 almost identical wood and gold statues are shown protecting the mummy of the pharaoh as he lied in his nested coffins within the sarcophagus. This carved wooden effigy of the pharaoh is in the Osiride style, lying on a funeral bier. A royal dagger of solid gold and meteorite that had fallen out of the sky. It was wrapped within the bandages of the mummy lying on his right thigh. The decorated hilt of the dagger is bordered with a rope pattern, and the sheath shows a hunting scene. The coffin, the largest of the 3 nested ones inside the stone sarcophagus, is where Tut's mummy was found. It is of solid gold, while the others are of wood and semi-precious stones. Covered with linen shrouds and a floral collar, a resin liquid had been poured over the body. The image that was sculpted on this coffin is exquisite, due to the decomposition of the calcite of the eyes. The pupils of the eyes are obsidian, while the eyebrows and cosmetic lines are inlaid with lapis lazuli colored glass. This coffin measures about 6 foot in length and weighs 242 pounds. A value today would be in the realm of $1.7 million US. In July 2019, the first ever restoration is taking place of this magnificent piece of art. This collection was curated by the Origins Museum Institute with the help of the Metropolitan Museum of Art and artisans from the Pharaonic Village in Egypt.